this is actually addressed to anti-religious atheists, not just atheists, because obviously there are religious atheists and there are atheists that don't care about religion, and atheists think that religion is positive. So this is addressed to atheists who are against religion. Now, assume for a moment that Jesus and God are fictional characters, because I don't want to get into an argument about whether Jesus existed or not as a historical character. I think that's a bit of a dead duck, to be honest. Now, also, it said that you can prove anything at all using the Bible. So, for that purpose, ignore all of the rest of the Bible apart from the Gospel of Luke, and ignore all of the Gospel of Luke, including everything that Jesus did, and just concentrate on the sayings of Jesus. Okay, so that's a very restricted set of propositions, from which you can't necessarily prove everything, and it's actually a lot more restricted. So let's get away from that. Okay, now, so we are talking about the fictional character of Jesus, whose sayings were made up and put in the Gospel of Luke. This Jesus was on your side, atheists. He was against organised religion, as it was at the time. He was against being judgmental. He was against prejudice, against outsiders. He was against legalism. He was against ostentatious prayer. He was against the amassing of wealth without generosity. And he was against hypocrisy, all as embodied in the religion at the time. Now, you can see the hypocrisy of pastors being prosecuted for sex with underage girls and the embezzlement of funds. You can see the idea that you have to look a certain way to be accepted in a church. My wife was once questioned in a church because she wore a black t-shirt. That's, these are the outsiders. We don't need to worry about those. Exactly what Jesus was against. He was also, another example I can think of is that I have a friend who was at a church once, and he stood up and testified thanking God for the additional work that he was being given, and he was told by the other people at that church that he was lying and he shouldn't use it for lying. So in other words, it's only true if we say it's true. And then of course there's legalism, the idea that you have to strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. I'm not going to put all these quotes in because I think you can look in the Bible for yourself and you probably know these already. Okay. Then he was against ostentatious prayer, the Pharisee and the publican. People writhing around on the floor, people speaking in tongues. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a valid spiritual expression for some people, but there seems to be a lot of theatre in some churches, doesn't there? And he was against the amassing of wealth without generosity. Give till it hurts, or you lack faith. Put your whole welfare check in the church collection plate, because otherwise you're not really a Christian. That's the kind of thing he was against. Now, our local secular society has a bust of Jesus, because they recognise him as a secular hero on the same basis as they might recognise Martin Luther King and Gandhi. Of course, Martin Luther King was religious, but other people who are secular heroes, basically. Now, okay, so I've said all that. He was a secular hero and an inspiration, and he was on the side of anti-religious atheists. Now, suppose he did exist. What if he was an atheist himself? Someone in that situation, if they were atheist, you wouldn't expect that belief to be accepted, and you probably keep quiet about it. Now, obviously, I doubt that myself, but we don't actually know that he wasn't an atheist himself. It might have been politic to do that. So, yeah, Jesus is on your side, atheists, not necessarily the side of people who call themselves Christian, and he probably would say that he never knew any of those. He doesn't recognise Christianity in the way things are today. And the other thing is, of course, that Jesus is, as far as a Christian's concerned, such as myself, on everybody's side. So obviously, he is not against that. God is on your side, God is on my side, God is on everybody's side. But I understand that, you don't see any evidence for my imaginary friend, so I'm going to leave that and basically just say Jesus is on your side if you're an anti-religious atheist.